Hey everybody, Lotus Prince here. It's time for summer 2026's Q&A. You've got questions, I've hopefully got answers. Let's get right into them, huh? So we start with Manny Stovall 8225. A few questions here. What is a video game series that you would like to see make a comeback? That's honestly kind of trickier to answer than I think it used to be, because a lot of series I would have liked to have seen make comebacks actually have. Even though I haven't yet played Deus Ex Mankind Divided, I would like to see them bring back Deus Ex, because as many series are coming back, there are a lot that are just kind of, where have you been? I know American McGee was trying to make a third Alice game and is just being told no. I would like to see a third Alice game, those would be nice. What is your least favorite video game console and why? I don't know. I would have to stick with stuff I've actually played, and that's somewhat limited. I don't know if I have a least favorite console. It probably comes down to the game libraries, so I don't know if I really can go into that from stuff I've actually played. Something like the N64 has absolutely incredible games, but most of its library is kind of whatever, but it's a childhood console and I have good memories of the good games I've played, so I don't even know. What are your opinions on the Final Fantasy series? Not as many as you might think. I've only played through Mystic Quest and 5, and I played a little of 6, and I saw friends play some of 7 and 8, but a little bit of 14. I don't have enough experience with Final Fantasy. I like the ones I played. What are your thoughts on the Siphon Filter games? Don't have any. Afakathon asks, is there any piece of hardware you'd love to own, but don't have the means to, or is too complicated to acquire? I don't know that I really do. Like, I really want this one piece of hardware. I don't know, there's stuff that might be somewhat amusing to own, but I don't know if I have anything that I really want to own, but I just can't, and damn, if only. I don't know if I'm really at that point. EnderGrant2580 says, what has been your favorite, or hardest, game to get 100% on? This can either be in-game progress or PlayStation trophy progress. I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite. There is stuff that is satisfying, but I don't know if I could put my finger on one of the games. I mean, any of the Souls-likes or roguelikes, there's a certain satisfaction in being able to say I got all of the trophies for. Hardest? I'm trying to think of genuinely hardest, because there is stuff that's been very long and tedious, I don't know, like Resident Evil Revelations. I haven't gotten the platinum for that, but if you're not doing online, it is extremely long and grueling. Same thing for Code Vein. There's something for get a certain number of medals that you would get normally in multiplayer mode, but in single player, it's just the worst. So stuff like that is hardest. Skill-based hardest, I don't know, maybe Hollow Knight. I never did master that because one of the trophies was for basically grinding boss rushes. No thank you. The Magnus asks, what is your favorite JoJo series, and have you gotten a chance to watch any of the JoJo's animes? I've watched all of the animes. What's my favorite series? That's tough. I really like 2. I really like 4 and 6, and the anime is currently ongoing, but 7 is really fantastic as well. They all have their moments. Joseph and Jolene are probably my favorite JoJo's. I love the exploration of the town, and the terrifying villain in Part 4, and Part 7's whole thing being a race is just exciting. Also, what is your favorite game that you have played, either as an LP or in general? I don't tend to do favorite games. I might be able to say favorite games within a category. Like for first-person shooter, maybe, Deus Ex the original, that one's way up there. For horror, I mean, this is a stock answer, but Silent Hill 2 or Eternal Darkness, stuff like that, really, really, really good. For Let's Playing, That's trickier because there are games that I get into when I Let's Play them and I look into the lore and stuff like that, but there's also stuff I've had fun being with someone else to Let's Play with, the banter going back and forth. A bunch of my co-op stuff has been really enjoyable in a different way than it would have been if I had done those by myself. Dragon Chi asks, one thing that I've always wondered about is that in your Let's Plays there are often installments labeled as Part A and B, but with the same number, as opposed to just making the next installment the next number. Just curious as to why. Yeah, like, welcome to Part 16A and 16B. The reason for that is that I record sometimes longer than I expect, and I think, well, there's a lot of random encounters, I can cut those, or there was a lot of retries on a boss, I can cut those, and even after doing that, I realize, oh, it's still over an hour or something, so instead of just putting out an episode that's an hour long, I'll cut it into 2 half-hour parts and just say Part A and Part B. In retrospect, it might be better if I just slapped on an outro for Part A and slap on an intro for Part B. Hi, this is a new episode, totally, not the same one, I promise. Maybe I should just do that to lower confusion. WolfMoon23 asks, have you ever recorded a Let's Play that you were excited about, only to realize afterward that it just wasn't working for the channel? Oh yeah. This is something I had vaguely teased a very, very long time ago. I had introduced the Game Boy Color game Conker's Pocket Tales, and I was like, hey, remember Diddy Kong Racing? Well, I'm not playing that. Hey, remember Conker? His first appearance was in that game? You know, Conker's Bad Fur Day? Well, I'm not playing that either. I'm doing the Game Boy Color game. Haha, fooled you. But I was going to do Conker's Bad Fur Day afterward, and eventually I finally started recording it, and I realized it's just not working for me. The game actually plays better than I thought for an old N64 game, but even though the game's whole thing is being raunchy and mean-spirited, because isn't it funny that a children's-looking cartoon character is doing that? It was too mean-spirited for me, and I was just like, I'm just not. And I actually just did not finish the Let's Play. I still have the episodes on my external drive, but I never uploaded them. Also, this isn't quite the same answer, but I started recording Resident Evil 5 by myself before Adi Quinn and I started talking about collaborating, so what we uploaded was the co-op, where we each link to each other's perspective, but I do have a few single-player episodes that I just never uploaded. Looking back at your older videos, is there anything about your presentation style, commentary, or approach to Let's Plays that you feel has changed significantly over the years? Yeah, probably. I remember Corpse Party specifically, when I would talk to characters. The whole game's in Japanese, like it's translated to English, but the dubbing is in Japanese, or if I'm reading notes where I'm like, okay, well, it's getting toward the time where I have to stop the episode. It just, alright, we're moving on. I would not rush things now the way I did for that particular playthrough. If you had to introduce someone to RPGs with a single game, which one would you choose and why? Would your choice be based on accessibility, storytelling, gameplay, or something else? I'd probably choose one of the baby's first RPGs. I have a lot of nostalgia, for example, for Super Mario RPG, and that game was recently ported to the Switch anyway, so it's readily available. And it's just a fun Mario game. The plot is amusing, the characters are fun, the gameplay is engaging. It's not just attack, see if you hit. There's the timing mechanics, so you're awake during the battles. And the game's overall not too hard as long as you are aware of the concept of grinding for RPGs. There are a couple points in the game where you have to grind. A lot of it, though, you don't really need to. Dave Jackson Y3W has a few questions. Since Capcom is talking about bringing Phoenix Wright back, are there any storylines you want to see? Are there maybe different mechanics in the game you want to see done differently or added? I don't know. I've only played 2 of the games, and at this point I'm not even done with the second one. Like, oh, finally, this character's back. I don't even know. I don't know what happens. Are there any upcoming horror video games that interest you? I mean, there are some new ones that interest me that I haven't played yet. I can't even speak to you about upcoming ones. Well, okay, Silent Hill Townfall, they recently announced that one, so sure, that one. What type of books do you enjoy reading? Have you ever read any books based off of video games? I'm usually a sci-fi fantasy person, although I find that nonfiction is more engaging than I expected, and Shakespeare is more engaging than I expected. But I'm typically sci-fi fantasy. And ever read books based off of video games? I've read some of the old Doom books. I don't even know about others. I never read the Silent Hill comics. I read the Killer 7 comics. Just straight up storybooks, though, based on video games. It might just be Doom. Maybe. Any chance we might see Vice the Bold reappear in your channel for a crossover or commentary with the chosen game in the future? I mean, maybe, but he lives over an hour away. He's got family stuff to contend with, you know. We are either in our late 30s or early 40s. It's just not as easy to do that anymore. I would like to, though. If he's got the time, then I'm all for it. Any plans for the summer besides video games? Work. I'm probably busier during the summer than I am during the year, honestly. Bunch of tutoring stuff. And, it's just in the early start of the summer, but I expect I'll probably be going to Too Many Games, the convention. Neon Wave 1. Your friend got his hands on Snatcher, which you did a co-op LP. Trying to find a copy is a nightmare. How was he so lucky in finding one? At a decent price, if I recall correctly. And have you or he found other such treasures since then? I'm only aware of Rule of Rose. I don't remember his exact circumstances. I think he paid some money and I think also traded up for it. And this was 15 or so years ago, so it would have been cheaper then. Expensive for the time, but cheap by today's standards. It's like a few $100 or something. I think that's what I paid for mine, was like around 300 or a little less, which by today would be a steal, but back then I was like, and he paid even less for his. It was crazy. Any other treasure since then? I want to say yes. I haven't, well, no, I showed it in an earlier video, but I have Kuon for the PS2. I got both Kuon and Rule of Rose when the PS3 was a couple of years old, like 2008, 2009, and stores were desperately trying to get rid of their PS2 stock. I freaking swept the shelves, man. At GameStop, PS2 games were $20 or under. Unless it was Fatal Frame. $20 or under. And with a 10% discount, just wham. Xenosaga Trilogy, no problem. Kuon, no problem. Rule of Rose, no problem. Haunting Ground, no problem. Piece of cake. Ironically, Rule of Rose, Kuon, and Haunting Ground were not gotten from GameStop, but the attitude was similar. Some store that sold games, PS2 was old, get them out of here. So, yeah, most of my PS2 stuff was back when people didn't care. Michigan Report from Hell, I got on eBay for something stupid, like $40. Because I was just looking for Suda51 games at the time, and that one was a little less well-known. And now it's like, ooh, the secret old PS2 game. It wasn't like that back then. It wasn't that old. It was getting old. Old enough to be uninteresting. Not old enough to be interesting. Welter47 says, do you often find yourself forced to power through a game for the viewers, when you've actually lost all interest in the current game? I tend to try recording an entire thing before I finish, so I don't usually get to a point where I'm like, oh god, I gotta finish this, I've already started it. There are some games I'm not terribly big on that I have finished. I wouldn't say often, but it's happened. How do you handle that? I typically just play through it unless I'm having a terrible time, and that's rare. Will you publish your backlog? Do you mean like my personal backlog? Like stuff I would like to play but haven't? 'Cause probably not. Who the hell even knows? I've probably forgotten parts of stuff that I've wanted to play in my backlog. For Patreon, I probably should give an update at some point on like, here's stuff that I have upcoming. That would be nice. Buckers107 has a few questions. If Hidetaka Miyazaki made a Berserk game, would it be closer to the source material? I'm not sure what that means. Closer than what? Than Dark Souls? Yeah, it's a Berserk game. Closer than other Berserk material? I don't know. I have no idea. Would Bloober Team be the best developers to remake Silent Hill 1? I don't know. The best compared to whom? I have no idea. I think they did a good job with 2, though. I wouldn't mind if they did 1. What are your thoughts on Silent Hill Townfall so far? I don't know. It doesn't exist. I'll wait until it does. I didn't even see the trailer. How does Silent Hill F compare with the other games in the series? I quite like it. Unlike other Silent Hill games, it sort of speedruns itself if you're going for subsequent playthroughs. So if you're going for other endings, you see different scenes, you can get through dungeons more quickly, you keep your upgraded stats, so it's not a slog, oh, I have to do everything at low skills again. It's actually very, very replay friendly, which is more than I could say about every single other game in the series. A little too combat focused, and the combat feels weird for a Silent Hill game with perfect dodges and stuff like that. It's a somewhat engaging system, but it's weird for Silent Hill, but I still like the themes, the symbolism, and all that stuff. I feel it's very successful in that regard. Was it ever revealed what the F stood for in Silent Hill F? From what I've looked up, I think they tried to make it ambiguous, although it can stand for multiple things. Flora, there's a bunch of flowers. Fungus, that too. Something like with femininity, I think, because that's what your character is going through. Family, there's other stuff, I think. Forte, that was the first thing I thought when I saw the title. It's not just an F, it's the Forte F, the lowercase italicized, F. That's what I thought, and that kind of works. It's not a musical game, but it has impact. What do you think of Konami using the idea, the Silent Hill syndrome, to use for other games set outside of the town? I don't really like that. Demons come out of the fog. Oh, classic Silent Hill syndrome. You don't need to do that. You don't need to make it canon. Just have weird stuff happen in a town, and that's thematic enough. That's all you need. Especially because in Silent Hill F, that phenomenon happens. I don't see other games calling it the Ebisugaoka syndrome. And yeah, before anybody gets cute, I know Ebisugaoka kind of means Silent Hill, but you know what I mean. Groovy George 6375. What is your favorite film based off a video game? I haven't seen terribly many, so I'm going to have to go with either Street Fighter II the animated movie or the first Mortal Kombat movie. I've heard the newer Mortal Kombat movies are quite good, but couldn't tell you. Haven't seen them. Also, shout out to Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I know it was on a budget, I know it was jank, but it pays more attention to the lore than you would think. Pisces Princess 327. What are your thoughts on the Fatal Frame games if you've played them? If I've played them? I played them all. I have 1 through 5 on my channel. I played 4 and 5 when they were new. I imported a Wii copy of 4. I even played the demo for 2's remake the day it came out. It's all there. I say all of them, I mean 1 through 5. I have not played the remake of 2, and I have not played the remake of 2. Which character do you think would win a fight to the death? Lady D? I don't know. Nemesis? Mr. X? Or Jack Baker? I don't know. So Nemesis is super regenerative Mr. X, so maybe him. All transformations and weapons included. Yeah, Nemesis has a damn rocket launcher, and that just one-hit KOs Mr. X, so I think we're done here. Which Resident Evil character would you spend the day with, either romantically or platonically? My answer is Leon Kennedy for obvious reasons. Probably Leon or Rebecca. Jill and Chris seem a little too, hardcore about the mission. Leon was a day one cop who was just hi, I'm just happy to be here. And Rebecca, probably not RE1 Rebecca, maybe post-RE1 Rebecca, who I think only exists in the CG movies. Because Zero's a prequel, although she actually appeared more professional in the prequel than in RE1, so I don't know. Audie Quinn, have you ever considered revisiting games you've already LP'd, but you played through them a long time ago? As an example, you played through Resident Evil 1 well over a decade ago, so maybe revisiting it via stream, and maybe doing a playthrough of, say, the Rebirth mode in the DS version. Yeah, RE1 is interesting, because maybe I could do the other character in RE1. I know I made a point of doing, I think it was Jill on PS1 and Chris on Remake. Maybe I could do Chris on PS1 and Jill on Remake or something. That thing seems more interesting, I think, for me to stream rather than dedicate a Let's Play to a game I've already done. Even if it is an alternate version, that might be a good idea for a stream. But yeah, it's an interesting idea to cover, especially because how I handle games that were really a long time ago might be different today than they were back then. But there you go. Those are the questions that I've received. Thank you very much for providing them. I hope that my answers have been at least somewhat informative. So I look forward to the next time we can do one of these, probably around January, sometime around then. December, January. But thank you very much for your questions and for your support. Until next time, everyone.